I'm gonna start out by saying this. I won't be telling people that I hire in the future that we have a social media page. Because I come here to my mom on Insta specifically to talk my ish. And then they wanna follow and be a part of the journey. But that's why we have a Patreon, right? So let's talk on Patreon.
You trying to black it down in here?
Let me show you a video. It's not scathing, but it was enough to cause a bit of a caution for me.
Get your shoes. Put them on. You know what I'm saying, Miss Lynn. I don't know. Why you just acting?
This all started when we were on Instagram Live with my mom, playing music, dancing, having a good time, and I lifted my hand to my mom, and then she flinched. I literally stopped in that moment, and I asked, "Why did you flinch?" She didn't have an answer, of course. For those of you who watch Insta stories and see my mom very regularly, she's becoming a bit not verbal. It's not that she can't talk at all, but her ability to speak is waning. She can't really do full sentences or full coherent sentences or stay on track with a conversation and stuff like that. But this moment, of course, caused a million scenarios of what could be happening to scroll through my mind, and that's when I became serious about making sure that these cameras were installed in our house. I called ADT, set up an in-home appointment, and I've now started watching our new caregiver bathe my mom on a wide camera that was gifted to us a while ago. I in no way am saying that this woman is hitting my mother. There are a myriad of reasons my mother could have flinched. Maybe I was approaching too quickly and it startled her. I also know that my mother has a lot of trauma from her childhood, much of which was never really dealt with in a healthy way. And if you never heal from your trauma, it continues to linger. I have nails and I don't hit anyone, but I do want to dive into why I live by that, and it has to do with my mom, just not in this video. But overall, I contemplated everything, and then I thought, well, it could also be the new person who is now in our home. And of course, I don't want to think that. Nobody wants to think that about someone that they're hiring who, you want to assume good intentions of everyone, but you just can't assume good intentions of everyone. I currently have a caregiver who I've been iffy about since she started about 1 month ago. But my mom's been very receptive to her. There is a bit of what feels like her trying too hard to make a good impression on us, but that in no way means that she's being disingenuous. And I could also be reading too deeply into her behavior, but something told me to get cameras so I can watch what happens in the only moments when they are by themselves, which is when my mom is at her most vulnerable, which is when she is in the shower. The truth is, no matter how many people tell you that they've worked with people with dementia, or no matter how many people tell you, oh, I have experience in all of this and that, there will always be a need to teach them how to care for your person. We all have different methods of caregiving also. I have a more live and let live approach. I consider my mom a grown woman, and as long as she's healthy and not wreaking havoc, I don't go around constantly correcting her behavior. But that is not how a lot of other people, care for their loved ones. And so you're always teaching them how to mold to your own aesthetic. But I knew that when I hired the caregiver I have now, I'd be doing a lot of teaching, more so because as we bathed my mom for the first time, she looked at me super genuinely and says, "I was so scared because I've never done this before." Never mind the fact that I asked if this was in each person's wheelhouse before I even set up an interview with them. The reason I was hiring someone was to bathe my mom. But that's just a part of the game, right? People will do what they need to do to get the job, and you have to know that that's a part of, hiring someone, especially when you're not going through an agency. So her references were good, so I let that slide. But when I saw this,
Get your shoes. Put them on. You know what I'm then, Ms. Lynn.
Coupled with already not being too sure about her, I knew I needed to pay more attention. This is also the text message that I sent her regarding raising her voice at my mom. So because I knew that I needed to start paying attention, when she came to bathe my mom, I reminded her that we have cameras, you know, so on. And so while she bathed my mom, I watched, and there was a moment where she raised her voice. So I said, "Hello, I'm going to be watching you while you shower, Mom. I'll suggest things that may help during the process. Here are a few things to keep in mind, ... 1. Yelling at her won't make her do what you want her to do. Figuring out creative ways to get what you need out of her will work better. 3. Either show her physically what you want her to do or give her something to distract her, but telling her over and over and raising your voice is unacceptable. 4. Don't rush her showers. You're here for 5 hours, specifically so that you can take your time. Don't rush the experience. It just stresses her out." I also said, "I am here to help and offer as much advice as possible. Let me know that you got this message. Good night," in quotations. When I tell y'all the amount of times I had to reread and retype that message just to make sure that I was coming across as clear and concise as I needed to, but like deep down inside of me, I want to be like, "Don't you be yelling at my mama? Don't you be yelling, don't be yelling at my mama." I didn't say that, of course. But Mama Lynn, you know, she's not hard of hearing, though she can act like it, you know. She sometimes can't decipher what you're saying, or she doesn't want to do what you want her to do, and you need to approach it in a new way or approach it at a new time. You know, these are pretty much your options with her. And the way to move forward is usually approach it in a new way. Dance her clothes off and on. Play music on your phone while she's in the shower. Give her objects to hold if her needing physical stimulation in her hands is getting in your way. I say this often, but we are problem solvers over here. Everybody at Mama My Mom, we're problem solvers. And that applies to people I hire just as much as it applies to me. I'm always trying to figure out how to solve a problem, not just bulldoze my way through it, because that doesn't work. It never works. I tried it for years. Don't bulldoze your way through a problem. I'm always trying to come up with a new inventive way to have fun, but get the job done at the same time. And that is like always my goal, to be efficient, helpful, productive, make life easier. So of course, after sending that text, the next day our caregiver and I talked a bit. She apologized profusely for raising her voice. I gave her a few options to maneuver bath time a little bit easier with Mom, most of which I listed. And while she bathed my mom the other day, I watched on the monitor and gave suggestions when needed. The great thing about that monitor is I could like hear them, and then I could also talk to them also.
We did it. We did it. Hey, we did it. Hey, we did it. Hey.
The great thing about this is I didn't even need to be in the room. I could use the voice function to relay all of my instructions on the monitor. This isn't me doing a sponsored video at all, but that part was helpful. It was nice to be able to voice a concern of mine, talk about it with our caregiver, and then move forward. And if the role, you know, of caregiver is truly embraced, I honestly hope and believe that caring for a person with dementia will over time make you a better problem solver. Instead of like stressing over something, I think going straight into problem solving makes you a more valuable person. It means that people will be grateful that you're there in the nick of time, you know? So I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for joining me today. I did record a video on how I prepare my mom for bath time. I try to make it as tranquil an experience as I can. You can check that video out here. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to follow on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Mom of My Mom. I had got all those handles, and I am very proud of myself because I had to jump on it. And check out momofmymom.com for both dementia and caregiver awareness apparel. Try saying that 4 times in a row. And I will see you guys on the next upload. Thanks for spending this time with me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And don't be screaming at my mama. Don't be screaming at my mama. Bye.